Okay, hello everybody. Hi, Colleen.
Hello.
Hi, Danny. She says hi. It's hard to unmute, but she says hi. She was waving. You won't see her because her sound's not on, but that's okay, Danny. We know you're here and saying hello. All right. Well, welcome to our Q&A episode that we do monthly here on the Reiki Lifestyle Podcast. You're always welcome to join us live. And it's 9 a.m. Pacific time on certain Wednesdays of the month. Usually we try to do like the second or third Wednesday, but sometimes that has to shift depending on when we're teaching, or depending on, various things like that we have to make it earlier or later in the month. But we do try to keep it around then. And this is just an opportunity to ask Reiki questions, spiritual questions. Sometimes we go into other topics around it, where you have access to Colleen, myself, Danny. We have conversations here in the group, other experienced practitioners. And it's just an opportunity to have Reiki conversations or different conversations about questions that you might have. We started this because it's, one of those things that we get questions often enough in email, and sometimes it's too long to answer through an email. So it's a nice forum to have experienced Reiki masters, experienced Reiki practitioners, teachers, trained in other modalities as well. If you have questions that you need answered, that it is helpful to have access in those ways. Um, so there is that. I just want to make a few announcements. First of all, time of the recording and the time of the release. We are in holiday season. So it's currently Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah to all of those that celebrate. Lots of love to you. Merry Christmas to those that celebrate Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa to those that celebrate Kwanzaa, and all of the other. We have a pretty international group to all of the other holidays that people are celebrating this time of year. And then, of course, Happy New Year. One of the things that we will be doing is January 13th. Let me make sure that's the right day, during the Distance Reiki Share, January 13th. Yeah. During the Distance Reiki Share, we will be doing our annual burning bowl ceremony. So if you remember our gratitude ceremony, we will now be doing our annual live burning bowl ceremony during the Distance Reiki Share, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Usually it's a little longer. Usually goes to 11:30 a.m. Pacific time rather than the normal hour and a half. Normally it's about 2 hours. We also will release it on Thursday onto our YouTube and podcast channel. So if you're not able to make it live, that gives you the opportunity to watch it or experience it later. We'll talk a little bit more about it in our Distance Reiki Share. I don't want to take up the whole time to do it now, and just talk about like what it is. And if you want to participate, all you need to do is show up. We have materials that kind of energetically cover everybody's things that they want to let go of, bring in for the new year. And also, we'll talk about how you can participate in your own while we are doing it with ours. So there is that. The other thing to know is that our Next Step Reiki registration and Explore the 12 Heavens registration is open until January 18th, and then it closes for the year because they are year-long classes. So if you are interested in that, I know this next week is probably not thinking about those things because you're celebrating holidays. But after that, during the new year, you might want to think about it. If you have any questions, email us, go to our website. We have the whole Reiki Lifestyle Academy and it explains all the courses. You can also schedule a free consultation with Danny if you need to have a little bit of a conversation about joining or not, which class is right for you, all of those kinds of things. And then, of course, always in the new year, we always are teaching classes. End of January is Human Reiki. February is Animal Reiki. And then March is Karuna Reiki. And then Colleen will be co-teaching with William Rand in Hawaii. 7-day amazing experience on Maui and Hana, Hawaii. It's Karuna Reiki, right, Colleen? Yeah. Okay. All right. That's the announcements. It's long enough. Let's go ahead and go into the fun part, which is the invocation. Colleen will be leading us in that. And then we'll go into the questions. All right, Colleen, you are up.
Okay, so caveat for those who are listening later, well, all of you, but the invocations in this can go kind of deep. And I think it feels like a very deep time of life right now. And so if you are not in a position for it to go deep, either just let the energy wash over you and receive it, or come back and listen later and fast forward to the discussion. So anyway, for those of you that are able, go ahead and get comfortable. For those of you that are here live, if you want, you can turn your videos off. I turn mine off, and we'll get started. This is completely channeled, so I actually don't know where it's going to go. I am listening with you and receiving with you. Okay, so go ahead and get comfortable. If you are able, close your eyes and place your hands comfortably on your body. Open your heart and receive. Breathe deeply now and allow yourself to take this time to be about you and for you. As you breathe in the light and the power of love by every name it's called. And the power of love travels in on your breath. And the power of love within you is revealed. As you breathe in the light and the power of the divine mind. And the divine mind fills your breath, flows in on your breath, and awakens and reveals your divine mind. Your higher thought and higher consciousness are present, and the field of opportunities is open. Your whole body aligns with the light of the divine mind, awakening your divine mind, flowing through the universal mind, through your soul star and your crown chakra, your whole body and your root, flowing through your earth star and into the earth, connected with the heartbeat of the earth and the heartbeat of creation. Divine mind aligned within you. And you feel the shifts of your scattered attention moving into alignment. Aware that the divine mind, your human mind, heart mind, and gut mind are all connected and aligned with your earth mind and the heartbeat and the rhythm and the creation life force of the earth. Your intuition awakens, your instincts awaken, your imagination awakens with your inner knowing from your soul's knowledge, the gifts that you brought with you, the knowing you brought with you into this lifetime. And it's waking up within you, and your scattered attention is being infused with your soul's knowing, your heart knowing, your head knowing, your divine knowing. And you remember now that your body is made of the earth and gives your spirit life and breath. And you are one spirit, one light. Your divine spirit and human spirit are one. And they unify now and in the places where you have a belief and an experience of being separate in your spirit. Those begin to lift with the power and the authority of compassion, love, and the divine mind, clearing out all the excess and extra of all of the thoughts, the collective and individual, that are impacting you today. Your divine mind aligns within you so you can hear yourself, so you can breathe. And you feel the light of Reiki travel in your breath and begin to release those ways and worries of the world that can be so loud at this time, are so loud at this time. Go within now as you receive the light of the divine heart from the source of creation in the formless realm. The power of love became the light. The light became conscious, and in the pure consciousness of creation, the love and light became unique and self-aware as you in the divine heart. And your spark became unique, and you became self-aware and began the journey of your soul from the infinite realms of creation. By all the ways those are true for you, what you believe about them, how you relate and connect with them, they all wake up within you. In the highest realm of your thought and the pure truth of your divine spirit right here within you. And your divine spirit shines through your human spirit and your human heart. It shines in your heart light. And your heart light shines out in front of you and behind you and on each side. Your heart light shines above you and below you and within you. And your pure consciousness is awake and completely connected with your inner awareness. And the truth that you are here in the journey of your soul to experience your lifetime right now. And all of the humanness of it. Human nature and divine nature, one. The belief in separation between your divine nature and your human nature dissolve. The experiences dissolve in the light of Reiki. Dissolve in the light of Reiki and the light of compassion and the power of love. And all that is released from you, those ways and worries of the world that hide your heart light, your divine heart from your view, shining through all your chakras, aligned with the earth and with the heavens, and pure consciousness, your divine mind and the power of love that you are. Your spirit ignites within you and is revealed to you, and you remember. In truth, from the infinite possibilities and experiences of your soul's journey in this realm, the earth, other realms of the heavens, the lifetimes between the lifetimes, the places where your soul was at other times in your existence, in your journey. And you remember that at this time, you came here, and your soul is right here, your spirit is right here, belonging in your human nature, human consciousness, and the experience of the earth that is the first heaven. This is the first heaven. Heaven is on earth. All of the higher and lower frequencies of life and existence are here in this creation. And as your spirit ignites and the power of love within you and the life force energy flows into your vitality and your vibrancy, and your body awakens to your inner truth, your wholeness, a new sense of belonging fills you. And you breathe in and you breathe in the tree of life, and it fills your body, and the tree of life within you wakes up. Your roots grow deeply into the earth beneath you. Your branches reach to the heavens in perfect balance, stable and strong, with your trunk unified, part of the earth, part of the heavens, the above, below, and within awaken. And divine compassion fills your breath and flows into your body. Zonar, Halu, heart, Rama, Nosa, Yava, Shanti, Kriya. Breathe deeply and receive now as it all flows through you. And your perceptions expand all around you to the beautiful beings of the light that are here and present with you. The enlightened ones of your heart, those who are with you in the journey of your soul, here with you, friends of yours, loved ones of yours that are here to guide you in your earth walk. And the beloved and sacred ones that you are in relationship with, your spiritual teams and guides, your gods and your goddesses, your goddessness. They're saying that's actually not a slip of the tongue. And that is open to all. We all, regardless of gender, all have goddessness within us. As the divine feminine flows from the light of wisdom and Lady Wisdom, Sophia. She goes by so many names in her lineage. And divine wisdom at the source of creation is all of creation is made of wisdom energy. And we know that here on the earth there is extraordinary wisdom and also an absence of wisdom and everything in between. And because of human nature, for you and others and all, wisdom can seem as if it's far away, sometimes hidden because of the ways and the worries of the world, the distractions of life, the urgency and the very real life experiences. And so you breathe deeply to breathe in the essence of wisdom, the light of wisdom, the life force of wisdom, and aligns with the power of love in your divine mind and divine heart, and flows from Lady Wisdom and through the heavens and the universe, flowing through our Milky Way and our solar system and our sun and moon, your soul star, your crown chakra, and each of your chakras filling with the colors of wisdom. And it flows all the way through your root chakra, earth star, and into the earth, and the wisdom of the earth is already here, and it's flowing within you. And like the tree of life, you receive the wisdom of the ancient ones on the gentle breath of the four winds. And the wisdom of creation and the wisdom of the earth and the wisdom of the ancient ones awaken. The wisdom of the people and the trees, the wisdom of the animals and of the earth and of the rocks and the waters and the plants, the sounds and the songs. It all flows through you, and you open your heart and receive as it wakes up within you. It's already here. And it all aligns with your higher thought, perceptions. And your perceptions expand to the beautiful beings of the light here. Divine animal kingdom and the spirit of the earth. Angels and archangels, ascended masters. Those beautiful beings we call our sisters and our brothers in the light. And they join us here. Those that are known and unknown in a beautiful gathering. And through the wisdom of gentleness, you receive clarity. Clarity in your particular circumstance, situation, life in this moment. Peace. And you can hear from the practicalities of your root chakra all the way to the spiritual awareness of your crown chakra, aligned with your heart, your gut, your mind, your voice, your expressions, ways of being, your creativity, and in all your practicalities. This is a very practical time. And so you breathe deeply and let go of those ways and worries of the world that are distracting you. And instead, you receive the power of the light and the resources and solutions that are here. And as you receive them, they do contribute to the collective wellness of the people and the animals and the earth. There is divine guidance here from all around you, and your own divine guidance as you listen now. Breathe deeply and listen. Go within. Merge or integrate in with your heart light and your awareness. And follow your heart light through your body in each chakra, your central right and left channels, your auric field, flowing in through your earth star and the earth, completely integrated with the light of the earth, the rhythm of the earth, and the cycle of your day. As you move into the rhythm of the sunrise and the sunset here in your life today. The practicalities of your day, clarity of your day. The energy of confusion begins to lift from you, for you. The layers that seem to hide your clarity from you are lifting into the light. There is a collective energy of urgency, of unexpected urgency. Breathe deeply now and let go of the collective energy of urgency that does not belong to you. And when you let go of it, you actually step into your truth today. And perhaps your day is and does include urgency. And so you just breathe your wisdom into it and allow it to be present within your inner knowing and clarity of mind. And take some deep breaths, and if your life is not in urgency, let go of the habit of it. Or even if it is or isn't. This urgency applies to everyone, that we can really get caught in it. Or not everyone, most people. They keep correcting me. And so just let go. All is well, even when it isn't. You see, that's the duality of human nature, is internally you can know all is well, and externally be experiencing life that no, it is not well, and things are not okay. And so wherever you are, perhaps you're in the blessings of wellness today. And so that gratitude just flows within you. There's also a sense here of, well, it's not as bad as other people, so therefore there's a dismissing of your own stuff. And so that's being released today too. And now I'm aware that we are here for the Q&A today. And so Spirit is talking about how each of you is here and just receiving, knowing that the light of Reiki, this divine wisdom and knowledge, and the beautiful beings of the light are here to support you. And so you just breathe deeply, and sometimes, and today, simply say, I receive. And so you breathe deeply and you receive all these gifts that are here, and awakens your gifts, your talents, your knowing, your beauty, your truth. And it brings it all into alignment with your divine mind, your higher thought, higher consciousness, in the duality of your human consciousness. There is no dismissal of where you are in your day to day for any reason. At the same time, you receive the light of wisdom to come in and support you. To awaken your creativity and your innovations and your gifts and your abilities in the practicalities. Your thoughts, priorities, clarity of mind, all awakening. And all those cords and connectors and weights and burdens of the ways and worries of the world lift away from you, and all your energy comes in close to you. From the places where your attention is scattered, remembering that what you can do today is empower the light within you, empower and strengthen your consciousness. Receive the light of wisdom to guide you and wake up within you. It's all right here revealed. It's all who you are. And at the same time, in the journey of your soul, you belong here in your human life at this time on the earth. The 21st century, in this sunrise, this sunset, the light of the moon and the cycles of the earth, and you align with it all, and you move into the flow of receiving. So just breathe deeply now and go within and say thank you to you for listening to you. This is you hearing you. This is you listening to you. Allowing the layers that hide your heart light from you to just lift into the light, and your heart light is visible, lighting the world in front of you and behind you and above you, below you, within you. And in its extraordinary gift to your life, and the power you have And so together now, we take the power of this prayer and the power of our intention, and we empower this light within. And we join together with co-creation and the collective awareness of inviting peace among all people on earth, unifying. May the followers of all the world's religions and spiritual paths, through all the different beliefs, the diversity of life, that we all come together to create peace among all people on earth. And we say thank you to our divinely ordered circle that we join together here with this intention, with claiming this co-creation into our world today and into the innovation of the future and into the healing of the past. And so we say thank you to each other. And we welcome the power of the people around the world, empowering Reiki with the peace grids at the North and South Pole, Jerusalem, Japan, Michigan, Hawaii. That this power of peace encircle the world, and we invite these beautiful beings of the light that are here with us in this gathering to empower this prayer with us. The claiming in our day, at this time in human history, on the earth, that we claim the divine right for the higher frequencies, the truth of love and beauty and resources, truth and joy, grace and gratitude and wholeness. And we welcome peace. And we join together with the prayers of all the others and all the ways that peace is prayed for, intended, believed in. And we empower it. And we co-create it here in the circle of life, in the creation of the earth. We send it through the networking we call the web, we call the mycelium, the networks. And as we do so, we open our hearts and we receive the wisdom of the how-to. As we are all engaged in the intention. And so now today we open our hearts and we receive the solutions, the ideas, the innovation, that humanity receives it to move forward in all the different ways the how-to exists, through all the belief systems of all the people, and all else that supports. Perhaps we don't even know that the whole earth, the trees and the plants and the animals are all engaged in this. We say thank you to those who came before us and those who come after. We're listening today and we are claiming today. And so we just simply receive and we listen. Thank you. We say thank you, and so it is. And now you can come back when you're ready or not. You're also welcome to just stay where you are. These invocations are always a healing and empowerment session for each of us and all of us. Always remember that it's about you and for you, and always about your way of perceiving it all, your truth, and then also aware of your inner authority around your truth. That you do know what you know. It's right here inside. And it's active. And the light of Reiki activates it with you and for you to give you the additional source of life force and vitality and clarity and guidance, purification. And then empowerment wakes you up, wakes up these higher qualities within you. Oops. Okay, here we are. I am in a completely different place now. All right, well, thank you, everybody.
Hey, thank you, Colleen.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to go ahead and get started with some questions.
Okay.
Just a second. Okay, so I'm going to start with one that was sent in. And we talked about this a little bit. I don't know where we talked about it. I think it might have been in class. So I don't know if we talked about it here. So I apologize if it is redundant. But I'll go ahead and start off. There was a question in the chat too. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. But I'm going to start on this one because it's a little less in depth. So the question is can I use essential oils, incense, and flower essences during a Reiki session? And so I'll start with answering this one. The one thing I would say about using any sort of fragrance in a Reiki session is to know that a lot of people are very sensitive to fragrances. And there's not really a right or a wrong. You have to decide for your practice with it. But if you decide that you would like to, then I would, just a second, then I would probably put on your contact, like initial contact when people book a session, if they are allergic or sensitive to fragrances. You find that a lot more in energy work than you do in the general population, I would say. That when you start in energy work, that you become more sensitive, not just to fragrances, but to other things as well. Your body just becomes a little more sensitive. So in energy work, you will find that quite a bit. The one thing that I would say to always default to is to use fragrance-free, like for your sheets, for blankets, use fragrance-free laundry detergent and not use any sort of fragranced dryer sheets. They do have fragrance-free options in dryer sheets. So, if you want to use them, just make sure you're using fragrance free, because that is a really big area that people are allergic to. As somebody who's super sensitive to it, I can tell you I would not be able to lay in a bed for a Reiki session or a massage that uses a scented laundry detergent or scented dryer sheets. Like when we go to Airbnbs, I message the hosts and ask when when they wash the sheets before I come, can they use, unscented stuff? And, but it never hurts to ask. A lot of times they accommodate, other times they don't. So therefore, I will travel with laundry detergent and things like that, because I'm so sensitive. And Colleen is too, um, as well. So just an awareness of that is a really big aspect of energy work with it. So yeah, for me, it's kind of like a deal breaker for me with it, with laundry detergent and dryer sheets. The other thing about some of the more naturally scented things, essential oils, incense is probably a no. But essential oils and flower essences, just because incense can be strong, there's different levels of incense and, what's organic and naturally produced and things like that. But essential oils and flower essences, some practitioners swear by them. Also, to really understand that it can also be the level of how much you use. So, having an essential oil be very light is very different than kind of covering yourself in essential oils. Also, directly with your hands, being over somebody's face if you're in person, can be very different than having a light diffuser in the room. Same with flower essences, fragranced lotions, things like that. Some people are very sensitive to essential oils, like Colleen is. I'm sensitive to certain essential oils. Some smells I can do, other smells I can't. So there's also that awareness that I have some sense in essential oils. I have some that don't bother me, and then others, it can almost be like an instant headache. For Colleen, it can make her even like her throat not close up like an allergic reaction, but really affect her voice. Even, some people are allergic to the point where it can affect their breathing. So but we also honor the fact that people have essential oil practices, that there is differences in the kinds of essential oils, the way they're processed and made, that many people find them extremely helpful and healing. They can use them for cleanse. You can use them for cleansing, like like an energy cleansing. You can use them for different healings. We know that we respond through the olfactory system, that our bodies respond through the olfactory system. So I am not, saying that they aren't a powerful healing tool. But what I would say, if you are going to use them, to maybe verify with your client that they don't have a sensitivity either to fragrances or scents in general, or to like certain kinds, because somebody could even be allergic to, like, if there's clove in one of them, or rosemary or thyme in one of them. Like, people can have specific allergies as well. And like I said, especially in energy work and things like that, we do tend to become more sensitive over time with everything. So just check with your clients. And oh, the other thing that I would mention too is candles. So that's another place where people can have a lot of sensitivities to candles, and those kinds of, like, a scentsy type um of uh you know putting scent into the room. That's another place where people can have a lot of sensitivities to them. I can have a lot of sensitivity to scented candles. And like scentsy type things and air fresheners and stuff like that, where it's like an instant headache as well as some other symptoms that can crop up from it. So a really big awareness around any sort of kind of artificial fragrances and people's sensitivity and allergies to them. And then with essential oils, some people are sensitive to them, other people really love them. So both things can be true. Just really, everybody's going to be different individually. Some people very much respond to um, flat flower essences, essential oils in a positive way as well. So definitely knowing that that is a part of practice, a part of energy work, a part of what you might do, and be a part of your life, a part of your practice. So it's also not saying that that's not also true, especially in those fragrances that are distilled from pure ingredients. They're distilled from they don't have any of the artificial additives to them, which I know so many of the essential oils that energy workers use. That's the kind that you use. But in those cases, if that's a part of your practice, just checking in with the clients that are coming in for you.
Yeah, and I think I would just add, you did say this, but um, the question behind the question is also integrating Reiki with other modalities. So really, Reiki will integrate with, I can't think of anything that I wouldn't say it would integrate with. Not all modalities want you to integrate Reiki with it. That would be a question for that modality. But in this specific question, can they work really well together? Absolutely. And is it appropriate to use essential oils with Reiki? Absolutely. But with everything that Robin just said. And we do get a little bit like, oh, we just wish we could tell people this because it's such a big deal for us. Fragrance issues are so inconvenient. It sounds really silly, but it's so difficult to, manage being fragrant free when we are in public and people wearing clothes with dryer sheets and the smell. And one thing I will add with it, since now I did go into that, um, most of the artificial fragrances, like the air fresheners and things like that, actually have gluten in them. And that is part of why people can be so allergic to them. So a person who's gluten-free, artificial fragrances can really affect you. And I wish I could do essential oils and flower essences. I love them. I appreciate their existence, and I wish I could do them, but it's one of those things. And I think the more I am fragrance free, the further I go with it, the more it affects me. So I appreciate the question because I think it's a really important one and one for you to know as a practitioner, probably the level of seriousness it can be for people and how commonly it is talked about in our circles.
Yeah.
Like if you gather in Reiki gatherings somewhere, that conversation comes up pretty commonly.
Energy work gatherings,
Energy work,
because
yeah,
energy work
energy
can
work, yeah.
really tend to make your body more sensitive. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a
There we
thing.
go. We could have said it in a few words,
Well, I think
but it is
also
important.
an awareness that everybody has different levels of
Hmm.
their sensitivity. So like Colleen is more sensitive to um essential oils than I am.
Yeah.
And then there's certain essential oils that I am sensitive to and other ones that I'm not. And so there's just an awareness that there's different levels. And so that's why it's just important. It's an easy question to have like on an intake form with it all. And also if you have pets in the home, especially cats. So because people can have cat allergies and things like that. And if you're doing it in your home, that would be another place to just have that as a question on your intake forms on people's levels of sensitivity. And it's easy enough to, if you say, are essential oils an issue for you, it's easy enough to just not have them on you or have them in your room that day instead. But if somebody says, yes, I love them, then it's definitely a part of the healing practice for them. So, yeah, it is a good question and an important topic to talk about. And if you're a Reiki teacher, an awareness of something to also maybe have a conversation around in your class that there are, it'd be like considering, for some people, it's like considering a nut allergy type idea. I mean, it's probably not that severe, but like I said, with Colleen and I, if you had dryer sheets on your table, then it would be something that I wouldn't be able to do for an entire session. So because it's like that uncomfortable for me. Um,
Well, I'll actually lose my voice.
yeah, Colleen will lose her voice. So, so anyways, as teachers, whether we're teaching as practitioners or in like a master karuna class, we will have the conversation of just, an awareness of it is all.
Mhm.
Yeah, my cousin is deathly allergic to lavender. So there you
Yeah.
go. And it's a common scent. I see you, Danny. It's a common scent in healing circles, and it's lovely if you can do it. And if you're allergic to it or have a hard time with that, then it can be, well, a challenge. Even obviously with that one, it's definitely a challenge. So go ahead, Danny.
One more thing before Danny, one more thing to add with that as a teacher, since Robin brought that up. It is absolutely appropriate to ask your students to come
Oh
fragrance
yeah,
free and essential oil free, because that can happen also. So, we will in-person things, we'll actually ask people to come fragrance free. Yeah, so it's appropriate too. Go ahead, Danny.
I was going to say, I actually think of you often when I put my bounce sheets in my dryer. I'm like, ooh, Colleen would hate this. Anyway, I was somewhere for 2 weeks pet sitting, and the detergent that they used had downy fragrance in it, and I couldn't. I mean, it was like on the sheets and on everything. It was beautiful, but I could not handle it. I was like, what is happening? I couldn't even sleep. It would wake me up. And so I went and got different detergent. I put a little sticky note on her thing saying, I couldn't handle the smell. So it's okay to be real, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
It's okay to be like, yeah, this isn't working for me.
yeah.
yeah. It's true. Yeah, thanks, Downey. Danny, Downey. Thanks, Danny. It's a yeah, it's a thing. So great question. And there's other options. That's the thing, is that there's other options for those that can't handle it. Like I said, when we go to Airbnbs, I will message the host, just so you know, that is an option. I will message the host and ask. I have had almost everybody accommodate me. It doesn't fully get rid of the smell all the time. But it significantly helps. And then a lot of times, depending on when I get there, if I can't travel with my own pillowcase and things like that, I take the little dryer, like tear off sheets, not dryer, washer sheets that are like detergent, and then wash them again in a fragrance free um thing. That's how much of an, like, it is a challenge for us.
Is that a Claire?
Well, it's funny that you say that, Danny, because I do talk about my clair salience as one of my clair senses. My sense of smell is so sensitive that it absolutely is one of my instincts here in this physical form. I don't get it a lot in journeying or in my intuitive impressions, but in my physical senses, my physical forms, it 100% is one of my clair senses. So, intuitive senses, in case you're not familiar with what the clair senses are. So yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah. Well, you said Airbnb, so I have to say this. I have left comments, and any of you that are perhaps hosts, if people use fragrance free in their Airbnb and advertise that, I will always pick that first. So
Mhm.
I always leave that suggestion for the hosts of like, boy, you seriously, that would be First thing I see, first choice I make is and it's so easy. Like nobody, people who aren't fragrance free aren't going to be, man, they didn't use scented sheets or scented soap on my sheets because you wouldn't notice, right? So anyway,
Yeah,
we
I
can
agree.
probably
I'm the
finish this
same. And I'll leave
conversation,
a
but
comment, I'll leave a comment if they accommodate me too. Host accommodated my fragrance free because it's like a gluten-free app. Like
yeah,
it will yeah, it's something that we definitely um prioritize in our life. So
yeah.
And just another note, like with fragrance. So I was on a flight yesterday and I was like falling asleep. I was listening to my music and there was a smell of onions.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh, I don't think I like that. And it was like, So it's just, just opinions.
yeah.
yeah, that's funny. Okay, well, there's our answers to that question. Good question. I know that was a long, probably longer conversation that we needed to have with it, but I think it's also an important one because people do have a lot of different allergies.
And to finish up with, for those of you who love all the fragrances and the essential oils and it works for you, we completely honor that. We want you to know that.
Yeah,
That's
for
it's
sure.
never meant to be like a criticism or a should or you shouldn't use it with Reiki. It's always about your way. Just have this particular awareness. And we do get a bit on a soapbox with it because, no pun intended, an unscented soapbox.
Well, we get on the soapbox mostly about the laundry because that one is we're
Yeah,
so bad. It's so bad for us. But
yeah,
otherwise, again, it's an easy checkbox on your intake
yeah,
form.
you can do
Client
that.
intake form. That's all
Yeah,
you gotta do. Okay, we're gonna move on.
yeah.
Okay, so I actually think that we should touch on this question. I do agree. There was a question in the chat about manuals, and I do agree there's also some um like not personal, but like maybe situational things that you should email about also so that it can be applied to your exact situation. But I think the question in general about manuals is a good question because the manual ordering, if you are ordering manuals through reiki.org, the process sometimes is, trying to figure it out. It can be a little challenging. So we also have Danny here to help with this because she helps with manuals and kind of knows some of the nuances. So for us, when we are teaching all of our classes, we use the manuals through the ICRT. They are very comprehensive and complete manuals that are very helpful in teaching and practicing. So the question is a suggested for online classes, do you have a suggested register by date guideline to ensure the students receive the manual on time before the class? Considering shipping time, and you specifically are in Canada, so I do want to talk about international shipping a little bit as well. Um, just curious about what you find works. And then also that part of the question is about preferring to receive digital or hard copy manuals when when you're teaching online or when you're teaching in person. So, Colleen, do you want to start with Danny or do you want to start?
Well, I would just add that one thing to know is the US mail has really um, become less efficient than it used to be. And like where we used to be able to say, oh, this will be here in 2 days, this will be here in 3 days, we are finding a lot of fluctuation with that. That's putting that nicely. So, just with that said, I think Danny, you can probably answer this best.
I just want to add really quick about that is that actually it is the US and yet it's also other countries. So an
Yes.
awareness that like considering you're from Canada, I don't know what exactly is happening in this moment. There's been a lot of mail issues there as well. Some countries, like I know a colleague, Karen Cag, she's lives in Ecuador. They don't have mail there. So for
Right.
her,
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
yeah, so there's other countries that mail works very differently. And so there is also some of these questions that, Reiki.org might know more about your specific country. Canada's easy because we know enough Canadians and things like that. But if you're in a different country, you can also ask, since they might know more about that specific country and how it all works there. So Danny, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away with the manuals.
Before you do that, I'll say real quick that if you are going to be in touch with Reiki.org about manuals in your country or even here, because you're ordering from them, we don't actually have anything to do with that part. But anyway, you would email, if you have questions, email center@reiki.org to ask any of those questions. Okay, Danny, for real.
No, I was actually going to say that. I was like, we work really closely with Reiki.org, and they're so helpful. So when there is an issue, they are on it. I mean, we just had one yesterday, and they were on it today, and it was taken care of. So it's really good. Yeah. So manuals. What we do for Reiki Lifestyle is if you're out of the country, we typically do digital, just because it's easy. There's a lot of countries that don't even accept print manuals. Um, and we do it as quick as we can. However, if you can't get the student the manual in time, Colleen and Robin always share their manual online. So it's very easy and simple. So some students are like, oh my gosh, I just registered, I don't have a manual, but you will see it on screen, on the monitor. So it's really easy. Um, and yeah, what else? So yeah, digital, it's view only. So you're not printing it, you're just viewing it, which is fine. Print, it can take, a week or so.
Yeah.
Some teachers do give deadlines. For us, we pretty much don't give deadlines as far as registering for classes, but it's also very normal to. I also want to say too that the ICRT does have to put in the digital manuals into students' accounts manually, no pun intended. So, and that's because they're verifying the level of classes and things like that. It's not so straightforward of a process as we would think. And, they obviously have to, uh, have certain verifications around things like that. And so if you're teaching a weekend class, to know that do they work Friday mornings or no Fridays?
Friday mornings, but I
You
don't know.
basically have
You know
to
what?
order.
Seriously, everybody needs to ask them because we just don't know all the details of the answers.
I
And
think that they send out on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
For the digital manuals, though, it's probably like if you want that guarantee or whatever, you of course email them, but a general rule is make sure you have it ordered by like Thursday morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing too is to speak about is when you um, have your address correct with Reiki.org, because sometimes I will send a manual out to the address they have with Reiki, and it's an old address, and so it doesn't get to them. And so it's very important when you register to make sure your address and information is updated.
Okay.
well, and I'm going to add that this is also a conversation if you are using the manuals from Reiki.org. So, and I think this person is specifically, so that's why we answered it that way. But for any of you that are working with other lineages, then of course that would be the question you'd ask them.
Also, one of the things that people do is they bulk order manuals and send them out from them, because then you have like more options around that. So, if you wanted to bulk order manuals, get them sent to your house, then you send them out. That's another way. And I believe there's also a discount with that, right? Yeah. When you bulk order. So there's that option. If you're teaching in person, many people, it can go either way. Many people send them out earlier. Other people have them just available when they come to class. If you've got chairs, they're sitting on their chairs waiting for them, that kind of thing. So both things can be true if you're teaching in person as well. That's the other option. Also, especially if you're in other countries, again, asking Reiki.org and if they have recommendations on how they've seen other people do it. That's the other thing to know is that, okay, I'm in Canada. Do you have recommendations on how you have had people order manuals in the past because of timing, things like that? If you are shipping out to an in-person class, let's say, I know you talked about online, and it's the people are in town or close to you or somewhat local, it might be faster for you to receive a bulk manual order and then send to them individually in your area, because that then they don't have to do international shipping for every single one. Or even if you're online, the international shipping varies a lot more than if you're doing like a domestic shipping. So some of those things can be a part of the mix as well.
I think that also that Colleen and Robin found out that if you say it's a book, right, Colleen, it's a less expensive postage.
Yeah, and that's going to vary by.
Oh, yes, when you ship it yourself, when you go to the post office to say it's an educational manual is a lot less expensive than just shipping the manual without it. Yeah. And then I want to add one other thing. I will tell you pretty commonly, people go to class without a manual. So whether if you're online and they work through the screen sharing, like let's say somebody registers, commonly people will register even the day of the class in the morning or the night before. That's not ideal for everybody, but that does happen. So we do screen share, but also in person. For a long time, I actually would give the manuals out the day people um, got to the class. And some of that was just plain the logistics of me being able to, do it all. So this was back before Danny worked with us and, she was helping with things and I was trying to do everything myself. It actually was very difficult to think about getting everything shipped and done beforehand. So I would just get them in a bulk order and then give them to the students that when they came to class. Because here's the scoop with it. Absolutely, there's value in reading the information before the class. So it's not like there's no value in it. But Reiki is so experiential that there's so much more that people understand after they've received, Reiki 1 and 2 or Master or any of it than there is reading it conceptually beforehand. So both work really well. I mean, now we're at the place where we send our manuals out from the office individually, and we're not doing the shipping at all. And then for a long time, I would order them in bulk because there's a discount. So if you order 5 or more, then it's a 30% discount. And if you order it online, there's a 10% discount off of that. So there was a lot of value, and we did our own shipping and, to save the money. Then through the pandemic, everything else that happened, it just got to be a lot easier to have the ICRT ship every manual to every student, but that is the most expensive way to do it. So there's also all those considerations in the mix. So cost and time is another, your time and then the time before you get it. But also be comfortable that if you have students that come and they're getting the manual that day, I have seen it absolutely be just fine. So you may send them the symbols in advance, if it's Reiki 1 and 2, so they can practice them and have a little bit of experience with that.
Um, Yeah, and we also have an intake on our intake form what people prefer, either the digital manual, which, like as Danny said, you can't download; it just lives in your account, or the print manual, so they can choose one or the other. And you can see that I'm going to screen share. For those of you that are listening, I'm not screen sharing that much. But you can see like this is the manual here, and it's it is the same exact manual. There's not any difference with it. And then you can zoom in. I'm sharing the 1 and 2 manual, and I'm sharing page, I don't know, the first page essentially. And you can see that you can zoom in, so people who don't have a manual or signed up late or something like that can really follow along. So okay. Um, the next question. Other than sending distance Reiki ahead and the appointed time, do you have any suggestions for supporting a friend going through transition out of physical form with medical assistance in early January? I would say that those two things are very helpful with it. And also for the people that will be within that process with them, if they are willing to receive it. You can also do things like send uh Reiki to the room, clearing the space, clearing the room. Anything that you might want to charge or imbue with Reiki would also be a helpful aspect. So that means, if there's a blanket or something like that, that could be helpful with it. That would be another thing that you could do, and that's just sending Reiki into the blanket or into another type of item. That's what I mean by imbue. I think that the biggest thing, that's like kind of the surface level things. I think the biggest thing with it is um, really supporting the person, the family, everything like that, in how they need to be supported. So the time that, leading up to it, the day of, um, it can sometimes be surprising what people need in that space, in those spaces. Maybe even, you know, types of prayers that they are requesting that can be out of maybe normal character for them. Or what you thought their prayers or even their belief systems are in that time frame. Um, so that would be another thing to consider, is just really supporting them in the way that they need and what they need through that process, because it can be exactly like what you would expect that they would ask for or need through that process. And then at the same time, it can be different than what anybody would expect, and just really meeting them where they're at with it all, where the family is at with it all. Um, Sending Reiki to the room can be helpful. Sending Reiki to yourself also. Don't forget yourself as you're supporting this person, this process. If you're looking for also, like, the distance symbol is a very good symbol to use during this process, as it is a bridge of light that can help the actual transition process. Reiki energy, of course, helps with any pain reduction, any anxiety reduction. You can see that can come up as a part of this process. That there can be anxiety either from the person or from the family members, of course, and all of that kind of thing. And also asking them, what level of support would you like during this time? As a Reiki practitioner, and Reiki energy can help to assist in that transition process, kind of, that midwifing of them into different energy form. But then at the same time, that may not be exactly what they're asking for. Maybe they just want the energy around them to support them in this process. So I would think that that would be the big thing to know, is that really, you know, allowing the Reiki energy to help you to move out of the way and move into the place of like, okay, I am just here to support what is needed through this process, meeting them where they're at and what they need through this process. So that's what I would say around that. Colleen or Danny, I'm sure you have thoughts around it. I've been through this process, and so that was my experience with it all. And even in this process, like, you know, still moving out of the way and just being in that place of supporting the person and what they need in that moment, and meeting them where they're at in that moment.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part. I've done quite a bit of end of life, and the main thing to know is it will be different for everyone. And also, they don't always know what they need until, and that changes. So it's a place of a high state of listening and, um, just for me, it was learning that none of it is about what I want for them. All of it is about what they want for them, and how that works is so unique and individual, and it can change. It can change day by day, even hour by hour. And so staying in a place of listening and support. I think, Robin, you mentioned too, um, so sometimes too, really paying attention to the way they pray or the way they set intentions, the languaging that they use, is most comforting to them. And so that's something else that I really pay attention to. Like, what are their belief systems? How are they praying? Not everybody, is comfortable with Reiki energy. So for me, none of it is about how I want to do it for them. It's all about how I support them their way, as Robin said too. And it'll be unique. So it's a high state, it's a place of really listening. And as she said, stay out of the way. And the other thing that I found in several times was, um, what I thought they would want was very different from what they actually wanted. And so that's where sometimes I had to do Reiki on myself to really help me stay in that, complete support system and stay out of how I want it done or think it should be done or any opinions around it. I think it's really important to stay neutral with any challenges that may be present with family members, and their belief systems as best as you can as the practitioner and the friend, and just keep sending love and keep sending the energy in the way that they think of it. So to me, Reiki energy works with all it all of the energies work with love through the methods of the people. And so, then also the other thing that can happen when you are the support person, sometimes you need support, and it can be really necessary to have the person to talk to or share with, or when you've done so much work for it to not be about you, and yet it is still about you. This is a person you care about and you love. And so having the place where you can actually allow it to be about you. And so, if there's a place you can have a support person, even if it's just to talk it out, can help too, or, for you to receive Reiki. Lots of self Reiki, and this is a place to remember Reiki on the fly. You can be supporting them and supporting yourself on the fly as well. So, and some of the caregiving with my mom, and this was different than at the end of her life, but in the caregiving, sometimes I was really busy and she lived in the same house with us, and I sent her Reiki from the kitchen while she was in her bedroom. And I would do it on the fly in a moment, like, oh, got to send some Reiki to my mom. So remembering you can do those things at the same time, you can also invite that light, like go back into that. Like what kept coming through in the invocation was just sometimes you just say, I receive, so the energy can come through and it can help you sort through it all or help sort through it for you, and managing that. Because it's quite a place to be the support person when can't be about you in the moment and it is about you also. So there's all of the above that happens.
Go ahead, Danny.
I just remember when I first took Reiki from Colleen many, many years ago, and I volunteered at a cancer clinic. And I went in, I was doing Reiki, and I started choking, sweating. I mean, I just absorbed everything, headache. And then afterwards, I called Colleen, who didn't really know me, and I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "You need to step out of the way. It's not about you." And it really helped me because I was absorbing all of the energy, I was absorbing the pain and the experience of this person or these people. And so it really helped me. It's like now when I go and I do volunteer still, it's like it's not about me. It's about, Reiki will take care of it, and the patient or person or client will just receive it.
Yeah, that empathic response can be a part of
Mm-hmm.
it.
That's a really
Um,
good point.
yeah. So just that light filter, that can be a part of it. And it's hard to avoid the empathic response because it's somebody that you care about. I know too that, if they're on hospice or something like that, that they have resources that can be helpful as far as the actual process of it, as well. I don't know, if they're on hospice or if it's, part of the equation, but that can be a very helpful response. And then also the actual process of it and knowing what that process looks like. That would be something that I would highly suggest because it can be a little unexpected. I think that we have from the media and things like that, we might have a certain expectation of what this actually looks like, or if we've had experiences with pets and things like that of what this process actually looks like. Um, and it can look very different in people. And so just maybe going into it like knowing that, again, having resources, hospice has resources on that. Even if they're not using hospice, they still have resources on that. And so knowing that part also, and maybe just reading up on some of that so that you can be a support even through all of that part of it. And Colleen had said something about, sometimes even their what they said, their belief system can be unexpected for them when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
That's always kind of that can be a surprising part. Also, I would say too, an invocation can be very helpful. Just bringing in the Reiki energy, surrounding them with those illumined beings, those enlightened beings, or, for example, if they believe in angels or whatever deities or spiritual belief systems that they have, just filling the room with that level of energy, the enlightened ones, and just, that the enlightened ones also being a support for them through that process also. So, um, that doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be anything like that. Maybe, you could even say it to the person. I saw in the chat that they're open to Reiki. So, maybe you even say it to the person, the enlightened beings are here, they're surrounding you, or, you can always just do that in silence since they're open to it. So that can be another thing that could be helpful.
Well, and then if we're going into some of the how-to, I would say also, I mean, all of the Reiki symbols are really relevant for them, but the distance symbol can be really helpful. And being clear that none of the Reiki symbols will cause them to leave sooner. And as you said here, that this is they're aware of their timing. But the distance symbol is a bridge of light to the light. And one of the things that I've noticed is it is such a big time of questioning their belief system about what happens next. Sometimes there's some fear, a lot of times there's fear of what happens next. There can be fear of like actually knowing how to leave their body and a fear of that concern. And where do they go when they leave their body? So the distance symbol as a bridge of light to the light, the way that, so when I talk about the divine heart in the invocation, that to me is the distance symbol. And what it does is it takes the divine heart of creation, like a bridge of light, shines directly on your divine heart, and they align. So as people, are finding their way, it's like like it is midwifing them across, is finding their way into the light. That bridge of light can orient them very directly because it's like it's their heart light is the same light, and it connects the two. It moves through any layers that may be there that are hiding that connection from them. And so that to me is one of the really powerful symbols. I've also seen it where it's, different times it shows up differently, but I've seen it where it actually will help open their chakras. And each chakra and any place where there's fear, it can dissolve the fear. It can let go of some of the cords and the connectors that they may have, attachments. You can definitely do, some specific healing work for them around any of it. And again, that depends on what questions they have or what they're asking about. But you can definitely, um, just do any of their healing work around their life review, their process through it all, their relationships through it all. So, and your relationship with them. It's beautiful that you're doing this, and I see what you've written in the chat, and that it sounds like you're doing all the things that we're suggesting, actually, that it's already, already working that way in your guidance of how you're supporting.
Okay. Well, Wanda, why don't you go ahead and ask your question? And I know we have one more here in the chat too, but we're going to go ahead with Wanda because I did see you raise your hand earlier, and I'm glad to come back.
Thank you. And if I may, I would just like to give a plug for Animal Reiki. I took the Animal Reiki course from Colleen, and Sue was the co-teacher at that time. So it's been a while, and I just want to give a plug for it because it was so wonderful. And I'm not saying that anybody would experience this the way I did, but what my experience was, my heart just, I could feel it opening. And I have found that I am much more gentle and much more loving toward and from my animals. It is such a beautiful experience that I really recommend Animal Reiki if anyone feels drawn to do it. And so my question is around the animal Reiki training, if I'm allowed to ask the question. It is on the animal circle healing technique. Um, First, when we activate the Reiki, and then we use the um, distance symbol. The third thing says to invite divine Reiki healing light to surround you, which would be just me. And my question is, in my mind, I feel like I should be surrounding that light with the animal that I'm working on and the animal's caregiver. So, would you mind explaining more about why I would just put that around me? Is that protecting me from absorbing their energy? Because I did find that happened to me. I was working on a horse that had a lot of hip issues, and even though I don't know what I personally needed to do differently, but my hips have been hurting since then. So that's my question, I think, if it makes sense. And thank you.
Yeah, so Wanda, the surrounding yourself with the healing light is a level of an invocation, meaning you are, as the practitioner, just s- supporting yourself with the light before you move into the session for the animal and the caregiver. So you are also surrounding the animal with the animal and the caregiver if appropriate with the light as well. So they are standing, or they are in the circle of the divine animal kingdom, shining their light, and the divine animal kingdom is shining their light onto them and the doing the healing. But the shining the light on you also is just a part of that, you know, protection. Protection isn't quite the right word, but it is also protection. It's just like kind of how we might activate the symbols before we do a Reiki session. It's in that terrain, so to speak, with the technique, where you are also just giving support to you as a practitioner. But then the technique is for the animal client, for the caregiver client, if the caregiver's, allowing them to, if they're wanting to receive as well. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. So if I've heard you correctly, then by surrounding myself, and I would also kind of reflect on it as more of a protection for myself, so I'm not absorbing any kind of their energy. So thank you. Thank you very much for answering that for me.
Yeah. And also Kenyoku after the end is a helpful tool. So that's the dry bathing that you might have learned in Reiki 1 and 2. It's a Japanese Reiki technique, and that's the clearing of the energy. And you might know this, Wanda, but I'm just also saying it for other people that might need the reminder, where you're doing the sweeping of the hand from the shoulder to the hip and then on the arms as well. So doing that after a session can be also really helpful for that potential of an empathic response. But I do know, like as a practitioner, I do take care of my own energy. Um, and luckily, I'm not a very clear, sentient person, which is a person that feels through. I shouldn't say luckily, that came out a little wrong, but it's not one of my clear sentient or one of my clear senses where I can feel the physical feeling of a client. So that might be, just a part of your intuitive response. And if you are if that is a part of your intuitive response, if that is a part of your, you know, clear senses, then it is also super important that you just bring in the Reiki energy, whether for humans or for animals, to help in that filter and not taking on their stuff. So I would also do some self Reiki on your hips, maybe use the distance symbol to go back before that session and taking any response on, physical response on. And then moving forward, definitely bringing in the Reiki energy to surround you so that you aren't having that same empathic response. It's observe, don't absorb.
Thank you so much. And I did not do the dry bathing afterwards, and that's an important reminder for me to start doing that. So, oh, I really appreciate all the help you've given me this morning. Thank you.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and you can do the dry bathing just even now, and you can also use the distance symbol to send back to you for after the session. So, if I'm going to do the dry bathing, I might, uh, distance symbol, distance symbol, distance symbol, and I'm sending this back to me for after the session. So, that can be another thing that you can do for that.
Perfect. I think that's great wisdom. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Wanda. Okay. And our last question of the episode. Okay, so if Holy Fire Reiki is healing or has healed our ego, why do we have to set our ego aside when giving a Reiki session? Especially since the healed ego will allow us to be aware of the higher states of consciousness and special healing abilities. Sounds like that would be helpful when working on others, embracing the healed ego and not ignoring it. So this is a good question. Colleen, I'm going to go ahead and defer to you and see how you would answer this.
Well, first of all, I love the question. I think it's a great question and one to really contemplate, like asking Reiki. So the first way that I'm going to answer it is all of the things like how to do Reiki, the different ways you might prepare, the different statements you might make, or prayers that you do, or intentions you set, really truly get to be your way. So if something that you read to say, do this before you start a Reiki session, does not resonate with you, you do get to do things the way that resonate with you. For this specific question, we've talked a lot about the ego over the years, and so much work has been done and said about getting rid of the ego. And, you know, I like the way your question is worded because it really is about actually, rather than getting rid of the ego, engaging with the healed ego, healing the ego, and then being in the purity of your ego. I think what, to me, that phrase, I let go. So what she's asking, first of all, is, in the recommendations in chapter 10 of the 1 and 2 manual, giving a complete Reiki session, and the way we often teach is part of your preparations after you've activated the symbols, kind of placed Reiki around yourself. And almost one of the last things that you do before you start the session is just ask to set your ego and personality aside for the highest good of all, and including the client. So that's the background of the question. So first of all, like if that doesn't resonate with you, you definitely do not have to feel like you should use those specific words. And I've recently had another person ask me about it too, so it's interesting that this has come up. I think the way it is meaningful for me is I'm not sure that my ego is completely healed yet. So that's step one. I don't know that I'm always operating from a healed ego. And so if I'm in a session And I haven't put it into this context before, so let me kind of talk out loud with how I'm processing what you've asked. So that would be part of my own belief system, right? So again, maybe that's a different belief system than you have, or experience of yourself that you have. So you would get to go to that inner truth for you about that specific question. When I think of setting my ego and personality aside, it goes back to what we were talking about just a while ago with end of life support. Is for me, and I'm very visual. When I say those words, I feel like I move back out of the session and completely let Reiki come through to do the work. And so for me, it's like a almost like a visual or physical feeling of me doing what we call get out of the way. So that's what those words mean for me, is to pull myself back and completely be an open channel for Reiki to do all of the work in the session. So, I'm actually going to listen around your question because it's actually a really good question. And I don't know that I've really like worked with it to say, I am ready to be in my completely healed ego, or I am inviting I'm inviting that. I love it. I'm going to work with it. And so, perhaps it's even something that we'll talk about again, like, okay, where's my own progress in am I now living from a completely healed ego? So it's interesting. But the biggest takeaway for anyone with this question and anyone else's question is really go within and find your truth around it. And so, if that language, if any of the languaging is not your language, you absolutely get to go within and, present it your way. And invite Reiki to help you with that. Like, what does that mean to you? So even if I say now, I really like your question, and I'm going to ask Reiki about it in my work and listen for that, we could still come out with a different way of saying it or thinking about it. And that's where I believe all of it with Reiki right now, when we talk about this time in on the earth in human history, we are moving from the age of the outside authority to the inner authority, from the outside truth, outside authority telling you your truth. Here are the rules, and you follow them. Particularly in this kind of an energetic work, it's really about Reiki helping us move into, well, wait, this is my truth within me. I do consider these kinds of ideas from my teachers. So it's not like I reject all outside information coming in or, realize that we have a lot of common ideas that we know work, a lot of common techniques and practices that we know work. I also think that Reiki is still one of its main things right now is on a personal level, helping us move into our own divine right to be connected individually to what the truth is for us and then to practice from that way. So there's lots of right answers to that question. For me, it's simply the language I use that has me sit back. I remember similarly to this question, when Jan Inglesmith, my teacher, was talking about this kind of a subject of how do we move ourselves out of the way. She said she would imagine herself like actually sitting in a chair and putting a seatbelt on her to keep her in, out of the middle of the session. So, lots of different ways, and you may be in a different place with that. And so honor where you are and honor your question your way. But I always say ask it, like be open to the question on either answer, because maybe it is, I well, I have to look at, I don't think I don't think my ego is completely healed. It's good. I'm getting good. Robin's shaking her head no. Yeah, I mean, we both know each other. I think we can safely say that for ourselves and for each other.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't mean so much for you, I mean for myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, not there yet.
but I do love the question. So
As Danny said, lifelong learning, ego.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I will also say, here's about this subject because I want to go a little bit deeper with the ego. In my experience, in my whole life, I think the ego is a part of human nature and human consciousness and gives us a particular drive within us about what our life purpose is. Like, I think it actually integrates with our spiritual reason, our soul's purpose, life purpose for coming into this life, and that it actually is part of what helps us accomplish that. So I also agree that I am definitely not working to like get rid of my ego. And when I say set it aside, it's just me pulling myself back. And here's my example of my childhood growing up. My aunt, my mother's sister, was always um, everything from institutionalized. Then when those were disbanded, then she was in foster care all the way through the end of her life in her 70s. And my mother used to always say, well, she has no ego. And I remember as a child just thinking, well, I definitely don't want that because she really didn't. And, in my work now, what I realize is, she was a very beautiful, otherworldly being, and her human part of her didn't get that drive. And from an outside perspective, she was labeled as schizophrenic, and mainly she really just couldn't function in life. She was completely non-functional, um, and she lived. It wasn't like she wasn't physically incapacitated, but she really just had no desire in life. And so for me, there was always that whole thing of like, wait, I'm not ready to like not have I think I want my ego. So when the whole kind of idea of getting rid of the ego, to me it was always about, well, wait, I want the unhealed ego healed or released, and I want to be in the fullness of what is authentic within me. And that is the concept that we work with Holy Fire Reiki and probably other Reiki too. So I'm not saying just Holy Fire, but with Holy Fire Reiki, we work with that concept that this is about us being fully unified and integrated from our divine spirit and our human spirit, our divine nature and human nature, that they're all, divine consciousness and human consciousness, that they're all unified. And that includes our ego,
And the healed ego, I think, is the big thing about
the
this
healed ego,
question. Yeah.
healed ego.
Okay. Well, I think we are at time.
11:11.
Yes, it is. It's perfect. Lots of love to everybody. Thank you all, of course, so much for joining us. We sure, of course, always appreciate our community so much, and this time and going into the new year and all of those kinds of things. We just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so grateful for our community, and lots of love to all of you. And we will see you next time in the next Q&A, which will be officially in 2026. So, all right. Bye, Danny. Bye, Colleen. Thank you all who joined us live. Yes, happy solstice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, other thing I didn't say when I was wishing everybody happy, merry everything is happy solstice as well. So, all right.
I love it.
Lots of love to you all. Thank you so much.